Hi folks, welcome back to Raakesh Lab, the Techno Hub channel for placement training. So in this session, we are going to discuss about Salesforce Workflow rule. So we should know what is Workflow rule. Workflow rule in Salesforce can be used to automate the action based on some criteria. So Workflow rule is nothing but this action based on some criteria. It is meant for automation. We are going to automate the action here. So they can trigger an action when a record is created or edited. When the record is created or edited, it is going to trigger. The action is going to trigger, right? So if the criteria is met, the action will be executed. When the criteria is met, the action gets executed. When they are not met, the records get saved, but no action will be executed. When the action is not met, the records get saved, but no action will be executed. So what are the actions that we can perform? So say for example, we can able to send the email alerts, assigning a task, updating the field, then on the rule criteria or action based criteria requirements. So here the things to be remembered is that in the workflow is that, so like you have to remember about the object evaluation criteria. We're going to elaborate discuss about what is all about evaluation criteria, rule criteria, action based on criteria. Right, all those things we are going to discuss here. Right. So now let me see what is the basic structure of workflow rule. So the basic structure of workflow rule is that when the record is getting created or edited, such time the criteria or the condition will be checked. When the condition is checked, if the condition returns true, then the action would be performed. What kind of action is going to perform? Immediate action or time-based action? If the criteria returns false, then the action will not be performed. Only the record gets stored into my database, that is into my object. So like see the first object, from the object when the record is getting created or edited. So three ways it can be done. One, that is nothing but the record can be created, the record can be created or edited, the record can be created at any time, edited to meet the criteria. So when this is happening, right, the evaluation, this is nothing but an evaluation criteria. Whatever the 3 points which I told you now, that is the evaluation criteria. So when the record is created, and edited, when the record is created and any time it is edited to meet the criteria, these are the evaluation criteria. When this evaluation criteria has been done, when these 3 points is getting returned true, then that time it is going to check for the rule. When the rule is going to return true, then action is going to be performed. Right? What are the actions here? There is two type of action here: immediate action and time-based action. Under immediate action, what are the things we have? We have actions are nothing but email alert, field update, outbound messages, and tasks that we are going to perform. So, what are the components of workflow? So, it is classified into two types. One is going to be rule criteria, the other one is rule action. So, rule criteria in the sense you know very well, it is based on the condition. Suppose to put in order to test a record, right? Basically, it is going to check for the condition. Condition is going to be an expression, right? It can be an expression, it can be a query, it can be anything, right? It is going to be, we are going to test the condition. If the condition is true, right? It is similar like the condition or the expression, whatever the criteria which we are going to test here, it is like the internals in the programming language, right? If the condition is true, the action would be performed. Then what are the rule actions? Define the action that should happen when the rule criteria is satisfied. When the rule criteria is satisfied, some action will be performed. Right? So there are two types of actions here. One is called immediate action, the other one is called time-based action. So immediate action is that the action gets executed immediately when the record is created or edited. Whereas coming to time-based action is based on time, based on particular time. When the criteria is met, so based on the timing, right, the action will be performed, right? It can be for 10 days or can be for 24 hours, within 24 hours. Depend upon the timing, it will be evaluated, it will be executed, it will be action will be performed, right? So within a time period, the workflow rule will re-evaluate the record just to make sure that the rule criteria are met. Right? The record meets the criteria, the aligned action will be executed. If the criteria is met, the aligned action will be done, right? So this is what all about the time-based dependent action. Right, following step occurs when you create or edit a record. What is that? When the criteria is met, it is going to return true. When the criteria is not met, it is going to return false. When it's going to return true, the action is going to be performed. When it returns false, then what happens? So it will not, the action will not be performed, right? Only it is going to save the record into my object. Right? So like workflow evaluation criteria. Already I told you there is 3 criteria are there. Created, evaluated, created, anytime evaluated. That is what the 3 type of criteria. Created, whenever the record is created, the criteria will be checked. If it is matched, then the action will be performed. So the second one is created, edited. First time it will be created. The time it will be action. That is, it will check for check for the condition. If it is met, so action will be performed. Even after that, when you try to edit it, so whenever you edit it, the action you go and check for the criteria, the condition met, it is going to perform the action. Otherwise, not. Right. The next one is created every time it is edited to subsequent meeting criteria. Whenever the record is created and stands true to the criteria, the action will be performed. Whenever you create a record, if the condition is met, the action will be performed. The record is edited, the condition is not met, action will not be performed. Again, next time when the record is created, right? So that time we go check for the condition. Then second time, right? Third time, when the record is going to be edited, then again we go check for the condition. The condition met, then action will be performed. Otherwise, it will not perform. Right? So each and every time it will again we go to evaluate. If it meets the criteria, the action will be performed. Otherwise, it won't. Right? So workflow actions, already I told you 4 different types of actions. So when the task is going to be further, when they assign a task, then updating a field, sending an email address, sending an outbound messages. These are the workflow actions that we have. Right? Now we'll get into how to perform the workflow rule. So what you do, you go to the setup. First, you have to log in by entering your credentials, entering your username and password, and then you get into the production environment. Go to the setup page. On the setup page, if you go through the menu, you have to click on setup home. Under process automation, the workflow rules you have to go with. Or else you go to on the setup, next to setup, you have home. Under home, you have a quick find box. On the quick find box, you want to type workflow rule, right? So that you will get a workflow rule link. When you click on this, it will take you to this page. So this page will explain about the workflow rule. So below, you will click on continue button, right? Then at the same time, it says that don't show next again, right? And the next, don't show this image again. If you enable this and then click on continue, again, not show whenever you click on workflow rule. This first page will not come. It will go to the next page here, right? Now in this page, you're going to create a new rule. In this page, you're going to click on new rule. You click on new rule now, right? So the first step is going to click on new rule, then you take you to this page. Now you're going to first step, you're going to enter the object, that is you're going to select the object name from the page list. Say for example, now in this scenario, I'm going to select the lead object, right? I'm going to select the lead object from the pick list, right? When the object is selected, then click on next button. Now you're going to enter the rule name, and then you're going to specify the evaluation criteria, then you're going to specify the rule criteria. So that is edit tool is nothing but the label, that is rule name. Let's say this is going to be lead rule or something, right? Evaluation criteria. So evaluation criteria, already I told you there is 3 types. One is going to be created, edited, created anytime it is edited, right? So every time it is going to be edited. So which option you go with, that you're going to select, and based on that you're going to specify the criteria, right? That is nothing but a condition. This is what you're going to give here. See, go to the next slide, you can see this. So the rule name is that this is nothing but a rule name. You're going to give lead workflow something. Evaluation criteria, I told you 3 options are there. I will go with the first one. Then rule criteria, I'm going to specify the rule here, like lead email greater than 50,000 or 60,000. If the condition is when the record is created, that time when the record is created, the rule will be checked. If the rule returns true, then what happens? The action will be performed. Now we are going to do that. So now the one that is done here, once you do this, then click on save and next, then it takes you to the next page here. The next page, you're going to perform the action. Here you have a button, add workflow action. Then you're going to click on that, and then a menu will be shown. From there, I'm going to select the new email alert. I'll click on new email alert, right? The moment you click on new email alert, then you're going to specify the description of the email. Then you're going to specify the unique name. By default, you're going to get the unique name. And the email template will be shown. There you're going to type your body of the letter, and then the recipient. You can select recipient by clicking on the magnifier icon, right? So once it is done, see here, like this, you're going to enter the description, the unique name you get, then object name will be shown, an email template in case you already use specify, right? You already have it, you can have it, you can specify, right? All else, when you click on magnifier icon, from the default mail template, you can select it, and then you're going to specify the recipient type. It can be user, role and subordinate role, and then queue or private public group, whichever you want. By default, I select user, the list of users will be showed. From there, I'm going to select user, add it here from available recipient to selected recipient. Once it is done, right? So once everything is done, now the rule has been created, the action has been created. Once the action is created, now we have the final step, right? The action is performed. Now you can see what is the action, right? So immediate work action shows that there is one action, right? The action has been created. So when the rule is met, this action will be performed. What is the action? Email alert will be sent to the particular person, right? So now we have to activate this. Now we have to click on done button. Once you have to click on done button, once you click on done, then what happens? Now it will take you to the next page. The next page, what you're going to do, you're going to activate it, right? Once you activate, right? Now the action, the workflow rule is ready. Now you can perform the what is that? We can able to perform by creating a record or updating a record, right? Whatever you wanted, right? Editing a record, you can do it. At that time, it is going to check for the condition. The condition is what? The action will be performed. What is the action? Email will be sent, right? So this is what we are going to do with respect to standard object, right? Now we'll get into demo. Now let me get into demo. So for which what I'll do, I'll go to the setup page. I'll go to setup page, right? I'll click on home page now, right? I'll click on home page now, right? Now what I'll do, I'll go to under setup, under home, I have quick find box. On the quick find box, what I'm going to do, I'm going to enter workflow rule now. Workflow rule, right? The moment under process automation, under workflow action, we have a menu here. There you can see under process automation, we have workflow rule. I'm going to click on workflow rule, right? It'll take me to the workflow rule now, right? Now let me. So now what I'm going to create a new rule. But now see here already a rule has been created. Now what I'll do, I have to deactivate it, right? I'll click on edit button, right? But already the rule has been created. See here, I'm going to save this, right? I'm going to save this, right? Once I save this, right, I have to now it is asking me to activate. I'm not going to activate here. Let me delete this, right? I'm going to delete this. So now the no rule is there. Now this is how it will be there. That is first time when you enter into the workflow rule. Now what you're going to do, you're going to click on new rule, right? Now we're going to select the object. What is the object? Lead object. You're going to select the lead object. Right after you select the lead object, you're going to click on next button. Now you're going to say lead rule. Lead rule, right? In case we have any description, you can select what is the criteria, evaluation criteria is going to be created, right? And then so you're going to specify the criteria, rule criteria. What is the rule criteria? Lead email, right, is greater than 50,000. Lead email is greater than 50,000, right? That condition is met. Now what is that? First I have given the edit rule. I have specified lead rule here. The object is going to be based on lead, and evaluation criteria has been created, right? The lead rule criteria is going to be lead email is greater than 50,000. Then I'm going to save and click on next button. Save and next button. Once now see here that evaluation rule, right, has been created. The rule has been created. Now we have to create the action. Now we have to create the action. Not to create action, we have something called add workflow action button here. Add workflow action button is here. I'm going to click on add workflow action here. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to select new email alert. Here we have four actions, like a new task, right? New email alert, field update, outbound messages. Select the existing action. Right, we have 5 as of now, but initially it was 4. Now the select existing action has been added here. Right now, I'll go to perform new email alert. Let me click on new email alert. Now I have to specify the description. Lead mail. I'm going to say lead mail. That is my unique name. So it will be performed on my object. Now I have to select the email template. Now click on magnifier icon and right lead template. If there any related to lead, if there is any template, right? So if there is any template with respect to lead, right? So there is no anything. Now I'll go with the sample one, right? Self-service support or inquiries, right? Support something, right? I've selected one email template here, right? After selecting email template, now see here recipient type. It is showing so many, right? Not only public group, right? Role and supported users, going to everything. I'll go with the users. When I select user, now it is showing all the user here. I'm going to select the username. Select the available recipient. Select it. Click on add. It will be added to the selected recipient. Once that is done, right? Now finally, what you do? You are going to click on save. So now the action has been created. Now the action has been created. So once the action has been created, now see here, action has been created. What is the action? Email alert. Right? Description is lead mail. Right now, I click on that. Once done, right now come back to this lead rule page here. Now we have to activate. Now I have to click on activate. I'm going to activate the rule. I'm going to activate the rule. Right now, what I'll do now? Now again, I have to go to the app launcher. Now click on app launcher. I have to test it, right? So click on app launcher, then select lead. Right, you are getting the lead here. Now you will get the lead page here. Now already some leads are there, right? Already some leads are there. Now click on new button. Now we can enter some lead here, right? Whichever is marked for required field, whichever marked required field that you have to specify. So last name, right? Company, right? So like I can give some other name here, right? Like already this name would be there. Srinivas, and the last name is going to be Madhav. Company name, iWave lab. So title and all those stuff, right? It is optional. Just check, right? Wherever the star is there, right? Working contracted, right? Then is there any other apart from that, do we have any other required field? Any required field is there? So now I think on the email ID I have to click. Here I'm going to specify. Right after this, now I'm going to click on save. So if the condition is met, now here the condition is met, right? So now if the condition is met, it is going to send a mail. The condition is met, it's going to send a mail. Now again, what I'll do, I'll go to the mail, gmail.com. Let me check and see the mail ID, right? But now we'll come back to my default mail ID. But what I have to do, I have to go to my mail ID. Actually, I have to sign in. Whatever mail ID I've given, I have to go there. So now, as of now, the mail is not come. The mail is not reached now. Till now, the mail is not reached. Right? If the condition is met, then it will get a mail. The condition is not met, it will not get any mail. Right? As of now, I didn't get any mail. Neither the condition is not met. The condition is met, then you will get a mail. Right? Sometimes it takes some time also to get a mail. So you please check once, right? If the condition is met, then you get a mail. But now I didn't get the mail because I think that condition is not right. So this is all about workflow rule, right? With respect to standard object, with respect to standard object, right? With respect to standard object, right? So I think you understand about standard object about to configure your workflow rule with respect to standard object. And finally, you click on app launcher and then go and enter all these details. Right. Finally, you come back to the workflow rule criteria here. Right. Mark status is completed. Right. Once you do all this thing, finally you get a mail like this. Right. You get a mail like this. Got it. So the next one is time dependent action. Again, we want to go and do with the time dependent action. Again, the step will add the same thing. Whatever you're done with the action here, like you go with the time dependent action and you want to create the action here. Right? The same thing, but provided you're going to give the time here. Right? So we'll add, but in this step, you will add the time trigger, go into your workflow rule field and click on edit and save it. Right? Accordingly, you have to save it and then you can do the time dependent action. So now for this, what you have to do, first you have to deactivate it. So now you're going to create another workflow rule. You have to click on deactivate button, click on deactivate, edit it, and then go to the time dependent action, right? And then you change it. Now see here under time dependent action, you're going to add the time trigger. You're going to add the time trigger. First you have to deactivate. Don't forget to deactivate. Without deactivating, we cannot able to create another trigger. Now first you have to deactivate and then you have to create a trigger. Right? Again, now it comes to time dependent action. So first deactivate and then go and add a trigger. Now what is the trigger here? Now we are going to specify the rule here. Now workflow rule 1, right? And then see days after then rule trigger. Now that is workflow rule. You're going to create lead workflow rule 1. Then you're going to save it. After saving it, right? So now the trigger has been created, right? So means that it is here you are going to tell see the workflow rule lead workflow how many days it's going to take, how many days it's going to trigger after 1 day, right? 1 day after the rule will trigger, right? After 1 day, I'm going to click on save, right? So now when the record is created, so it is going to check for the rule. If the rule is met after 1 day, right? So you will see the action will be performed, right? Now what is the workflow action you're going to specify here? Again, you're going to say the email alert, same action, right? You're going to use the same option here, right? So same story goes here. So then finally you activate it, and then once you activate, right? So then you're going to enable it. So then the default workflow rule must be set before activating this workflow rule. So you have to deactivate the old one, and now you have to activate this. Now click OK. Now, so it will check for the criteria, the condition is met. Then the action will be performed after 1 day. So this is all about with respect to standard object. Now we are going to discuss about how to create a workflow rule with respect to custom object. Right? Now let me see the requirement. The requirement is that right invoice amount is greater than 12,000. It should be marked as a bulk invoice, and email alert should be sent to the invoice owner. So if the amount is greater than 12,000, it should be marked as a bulk invoice, and email alert should be sent to the invoice owner. Task should be assigned to the user to review the invoice, and outbound message to be sent to the invoice. Either outbound messages or it's going to be email alert, or you're going to change it, you're going to update the field, whatever you want, you can do it. Again, what you do, same set of story goes here. Again, you go to the workflow rule, click on new rule, right? And you're going to select the object, right? So here you're going to select the custom object, click on next button. So then you're going to specify the rule name, evaluation criteria, and then created, right? Whether it's created or that is under the evaluation criteria. Whether it's created every time, or created or edited, created every time it is edited, whichever option you wanted, you have to select it. And then rule criteria, you're going to specify what is my rule criteria. Invoice amount should be greater than 12,000. Then you're going to save and click on next, save and next button. Right? Same here, the amount greater than 12,000. So now here created at any time it is edited to the subsequent need criteria. You go to the third option. Now invoice total amount is greater than 12,000. Now we're going to save and click on next. Now we have successfully created a workflow rule. Creating a workflow rule and adding workflow action is must now. So now after creating workflow rule, you have to add the workflow action now. Now again, what you do, you go for the now you know what is the requirement. So if the invoice amount is greater than 12,000, then it should be marked as bulk invoice, and an email alert should be sent to the invoice owner. The task should be assigned to the user to review the invoice, and outbound message should be sent to the invoice detail. Right. So now we are going to perform the action. What is the action now? I'm going to update the field. When I'm going to based on that, the field is going to be updated, right? Now I'm going to select the field update now. I'm going to select the field update, edit the rule, if the amount is greater than 12,000, the field update will be done. So now click on new field update, right? Now we're going to enter the name, description, enter the field to update, right? So then use a formula for it, enter the formula and the formula address, save the button, right? So now what happens if it is going to be 12,000, then what I'm going to do? I'm going to use a formula here, bulk invoice, right? And then, right, the formula will be done here, amount. I'm going to calculate the amount. The same amount will be, I'm going to change it here, right? The formula value here, amount minus C into it. So I'm going to give 10% discount. It's going to be 12,000. One bulk invoice, it's going to be more than 12,000. Right? I'm going to give it the discount, right? So I'm calculating discount and I'm going to check for the syntax. When the syntax is done, right? Similar way, I'm going to send the email alert also. Again, I'm creating one more rule here. Email alert, I'm going to select the email alert, right? The story is going to be the same thing, right? Click on email alert, enter the description, the recipient, right? And then you're going to save it. So then now we have successfully created the workflow, right? So now we're going to enter the description in email template, and then you're going to select the user, add the user, right? After adding the user. So like this, you're going to, like one by one, you're going to do all the tasks. Like you're going to do new tasks, such a case, we'll go with new task again. You're going to select another one, right? New task. So now again, you're going to select the user, enter the subject name, due date, status is not started, and priority is normal. So all those stuff you're going to enter, then click on save button, right? This is how we're going to enter, right? Assign to subject, unique name, due date. So what is the task? When the task has to be performed, right? You're going to specify all these things. When is the due date? What is the status? Whether it's progress? What kind of priority you're going to give it for this task, right? All those stuff you're going to edit, right? Based on the condition, if the task is going to be priority, immediately it has to be attended by a particular person. So to whom it has the task been assigned, all those details you're going to enter, right? It is going to be outbound message, right? Again, you're going to enter the outbound message workflow action, enter the detail required to send the outbound messages in Salesforce, enter the end endpoint URL, select the user to send, select the invoice field to send from available fields to selected fields. Finally, click on save button. When it comes to outbound message, you're going to enter the name, nickname, and the endpoint URL you have to specify. Then user to send to whom you have to specify, and what are the fields that you want to have it that you can select it here. So once you've done it, without activating workflow rule, we cannot work on the workflow rules. So go to the workflow rules and you have to activate them. Right? Whatever you do, you have to activate with the workflow rules. Now go to the proforma or invoice object. Now, once all the rules has been set, right? Once all the action has been performed, our action has been created, then finally we go for the testing. We're going to check it. Again, we go for the app launcher and select the pharma app or college app or whatever app you have created, recruitment app. There you can click on invoice, right? And you're going to perform the test here. Now you're going to say amount. You're going to enter all these details. Now amount is greater than the 12,000, right? That is the case. Now we're entering all these things and finally click on save. Now that is the case. The amount is greater than 12,000, right? So then what happens? Automatically the workflow rule will be evaluated, right? The workflow rule will be evaluated here. Got it? So the amount is greater than 12,000. Automatically the workflow rule will be. So that based on that, outbound message will be sent, the field will be updated, email would be sent, or a task would be performed, everything will be done. Now what I'll do, I'll go for the demo again, right? I'll go for the demo again. Now with respect to, so custom object we have to do. Now again, if click for, I'll go to the setup, I'll go to setup. Now again, what I'll do, I'll go for workflow rule, right? Click on workflow rule. Click on workflow rule, right? So now what I have to do, I have to deactivate this. Let me deactivate this. I've done the deactivated, right? I have now activate means now it got deactivated. When I click on activate, now it should deactivate. That means that if it is in deactivate, now the rule is in activate, right? So that you have to understand. Now I'm going to click on new rule. Now the object, now to select the object, it's going to be customer object. Right, I'm going to select the customer object. Now click on next. Right, what is the rule here? Customer rule. So amount greater than 12,000. Right? So amount greater than 12,000. Then create any time it is edited or subsequently meet the criteria. What is the criteria? Right? Customer amount. Customer amount is greater than. So I'm going to type 12,000. That is the case. I'm going to save the criteria, evaluation rule and criteria rule. So once that is done, now I'm going to perform the action. Add the action. What is that? I'm going to say email alert. So then the description, right? Amount greater than 12,000. Right. And email template. I'm going to select the email template here. Right. So see here for email template, new customer email. I'm going to add now for which user. I'm going to select the user here, add it here, and then I'm going to click on save. Right now, workflow rule has been created. Right. Again, I'll go to the workflow action here. Now, what I'll do, I'll go with the field update. One more thing I can do. Right. So this, what is that? I can go with the name discount. Right. So now field update, on which field I am going to update? Amount field itself I'm going to update field. Click on next. Right. Field update. Right. So specify the new field. A blank value, use a formula set to set the new value. I'm going to set use a formula. Right. So that case I'm going to enter the formula here. Right. So you have to show the formula. What is the formula? Or currency, specify the new field value. Use a formula to set the new value. Right. In that case, you're going to specify the formula here. What is that? Otherwise, we go with the now click on formula editor here. Now go with the formula editor. Now it's the amount field. So customer amount, right? Minus, right? So 10 divided by 100 into amount, right? And then check syntax. The syntax is correct. I'm going to save it here, right? So once it is done, right? So I've created two rules. That is now sufficient, right? Now click on done button. Once it is done, right? Similar way, you can create a time dependent rule also. Again, you have to go and edit and you have to do it here. So same, right? So once it is done, I'm going to click on activate. I'm going to click on activate. Now two rules has been created here. So now I have already activated here, right? I have done the activation. Now what I will do, I have to go for the, I have to test it, right? I'll go here, go to the app launcher and then select recruitment app, right? Recruitment app, and it will take you to my recruitment page. Now what is it? Now we have to go for customer object. Do you have any customer object here? It is not yet. Now I'll click on customer object. Now I'm going to enter all the details. First name, last name, right? Litin Raju, right? Age 43, date of birth. So like let's say 1999. 14th, right? City, Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh, pin code, right? So now I'm going to enter. It is going to be 15,000, right? And then I'm going to save. After saving, now you can see detail page. So now a discount has been given 15,000. See, the discount has been created. The discount has been given. The field has been updated. If it is greater than 12,000, so what is the discount has to be performed? So it is working, right? At the same time, I have to check whether any email has been sent. But still, the email has not been sent, right? So it takes some time, right? If the condition is true, condition is met, the email will come here. But as of now, still the email has not come. Right? Even the email has not come. So now, so you wait and see that if any email comes, so it will get updated. But as of now, the email has not come. Right? But here, one condition is met, so that so the amount discount has been calculated. This is what the workflow rule all about. This is what the workflow rule all about. This is what the workflow rule all about. Got it? This is what the workflow rule all about. Guys, I think you have understood about the workflow rule. I have given the explanation about standard object and custom object, given demo with respect to standard object and custom object too. Right? Please do learn this concept and thoroughly. If you have any doubts, you can mail me at info.iwavelabs@gmail.com. Please learn the concept thoroughly and get ready for the certification. Please subscribe to my channel. Right? In case you want to contact me, you can contact me at 855079160. Please do subscribe by clicking the subscribe button and then click on like button. Right? So and then please click on bell icon, right? So that you would support my channel. Like it's Raakesh. I will have a Techno Hub channel for placement training. Please be safe. Stay tuned. Bye bye.